Thank you all, and now it is time to start our show. We couldn't be more delighted to have them here. Friends, please enjoy this production of Margaret Maher and the Celtification of Emily Dickinson by Rosemary Caine's Wilde Irish Women.
I dwell in possibility, a fairer house than prose, more numerous of windows, superior for doors. All chambers as the cedars, impregnable of eye, and for an everlasting roof, the gambrels of the sky. Of visitors the fairest, for occupation this, the spreading wide my narrow hands to gather paradise. Of visitors the fairest, for occupation this, the spreading wide my narrow hands to gather paradise. To gather paradise, to gather paradise.
Dear Emily, you're such a renowned letter writer. We hope you don't mind if we dare to write one to you. Let me introduce ourselves. We are the Wilde Irish Women.
With a few excellent men.
With all due respect, not nearly as wild as us women. Yes, a few excellent men. But we are about raising Irish women out of the past, even if no one has ever heard of them, especially if they had a good story or made an impact on their times and now possibly languish in obscurity.
Isn't that what you hoped for, Emily? Obscurity? We are not averse to fame, and some of our wild characters were indeed famous, if not notorious.
Maud Gonne, the celebrated muse of William Butler Yeats. Ah, but she was too fierce a gun-toting revolutionary for your gentle nature. Also, she broke for W.B.'s heart.
What about our other wild Irish woman, Nora Barnacle? James Joyce was crazy about her, even if she barely read a word of Ulysses. The 17 pages she managed to get through nearly killed her. But you are Anfilla to us. Anfilla, Irish for poet.
What about the warrior women of the Táin? Deirdre, Nessa, Macha, and Maeve. You too, Emily, are a warrior woman to us. Now you are more famous than all of them, including you and our wild Irish sisterhood. Might be seen to you as an act of craven Celtic commodification.
Me, Irish, we might hear you say. Oh, never. We're pretty sure you don't have a drop of Irish blood in you, and if you did, you'd keep it to yourself.
Who knows what Hibernian skeletons are hiding in your closet with your Gunabon, your white dress? We bet Ancestry.com could pull even you into the Irish diaspora.
You are famous enough already without our help. Your story is not eclipsed in our story, but rather interwoven with that of another, the Irish maid who lived in your home for more than 30 years, even after you departed from this life. She may have been a mere footnote in Dickinson family history, but she is our wild Irish woman, Margaret Maher.
We love her life story, and yours, your poems, and well, especially your baking. Now, please bear with us as we tell more of your story, and of course, Margaret's. Yours, very respectfully, the Wilde Irish Women.
In March of 1850, Emily's father, Edward Dickinson, placed an ad in the local paper, wanted for hire, a girl or a woman who is capable of doing the work of a small household, who can come well recommended, can receive constant employment and good wages.
The way was paved for breaking down her Irish bias by her first Irish maid, Miss O'Brien. She worked for the family for 5 years and created great consternation and disruption in the smooth running of the household when she announced she was moving to California to get married in 1865.
I just thought she didn't have a good enough reason to quit our employment. Sure, she was only getting married. Why didn't she want to die a respectable old maid in an upstanding Protestant household, like myself?
I am her replacement. I hope I can follow in her footsteps and not die unexpectedly before I have a chance to snag a handsome Yankee fella and not be an old maid. I was born on February 25th, 1841, in the village of Killusty, a town land of County Tipperary, Ireland, known as the Golden Vale for its verdant and rich pasture land.
Margaret spent her childhood living through one of the greatest calamities in Irish history, the potato famine. Oh, the praties, they are small over here.
Over here.
Oh, the praties, they are small over here.
Over here.
Oh, the praties, they are small, but we'll dig them in the fall, and we'll eat them, skin and all, over here. Oh, I wish that we were geese, night and morn.
Night and morn.
Oh, I wish that we were geese, night and morn.
Night and morn.
Oh, I wish that we were geese and could live our lives in peace till the hour of our release, eating corn. we're drowning in the dust over here. Oh, we're drowning in the dust over here. Oh, we're drowning in the dust, but the Lord in whom we trust will yet give us crumb for crust over here. Will yet give us crumb for crust over here.
My father, like most small farmers, had to move often to rent land. Now, we weren't starving, but we were close. We frequently had to eat mangoes, which were really intended for the cows. We survived what others died eating grass when the potatoes failed.
Better mangolds than grass. They would be a kind of turnip.
Grand sounding townlands, Bula, Killavalley, Capadrumman, on the slopes of Slieve na Mon, the mountain of the women. No matter their grand names, he couldn't even scratch out a living there.
Margaret's father's last move to Slieve na Mon, the mountain of the women, got him a lease on land. He was able to save money. Sadly, that was for their passage to America.
I was only 14 years old then, but I was able to read and write about employment with me future bosses, the Boltwoods, and then the Dickinsons of Amherst.
Lord Geoffrey Amherst. For him the town is named. He suffered his own form of decapitation, falling from a pedestal like many disgraced men of monuments.
Imagine passing out blankets infected with smallpox to kill off the natives. And we thought the English were bad.
Sure, wasn't he English?
The inn that carries his name, Lord Geoffrey, now carries the name of his neighbors and Margaret's first employers, the Boltwoods.
The correction didn't go quite far enough. I should be seeing a sign that says, "Welcome to the town of Dickinson," or to the town of Emily?
I had the comfort of me sister Mary and her husband Tom when I left Ireland for the U.S.
Margaret's brother-in-law, Tom Kelly, was a thrifty, provident, ambitious fellow, albeit a humble laborer. He was able to buy property from my father and establish his own family compound in Amherst, known as Kelly Square.
I am bidding farewell to the land of my youth and the home I love so well, and the mountains so grand round my own native land. I am bidding them all farewell. With an aching heart I'll bid them adieu, for tomorrow I'll sail far away, o'er the raging foam, for to seek a home on the shores of America. It's not for the want of employment I'm going, it's not for the love of fame, that fortune bright may shine over me and give me a glorious name. No, it's not for the want of employment I'm going, or the weary and stormy sea, but to seek a home for my own true love on the shores of America. when I am bidding my last farewell, the tears like rain will blind. Will I think of my friends in my own native land and the home I'm leaving behind? But if I should die in a foreign land and be buried so far, far away, no fond mother's tears will be shed o'er my grave on the shores of
This isn't exactly a bloodline from Margaret to me. I was trying to get over my prejudice towards the Irish. Wretched people, I thought they were. I believed they should all be scientifically eliminated. Then came Maggie. I've often said Maggie is brave, faithful, punctual, and courageous. Then I was wondering why I had such a bad opinion of them before Maggie.
She changed her mind. And then they took down the sign, "No Irish need apply."
When I was young, I lived in a bustling, busy, social, hospitable household. Unlike the future me, the famous recluse, I wasn't always upstairs writing alone. I had a lot of fun when I was young, and with the servants, too.
Well for them, with a staff of long-suffering, devoted, industrious Irish and African-American servants.
Where would they be without us? Dancing to attend to their every tune. Now, Emily and Lavinia are not lazy, even though they're fancy-pants, high-class girls. They do plenty of work around the house, but I'm still the most exhausted. How many times these low feet staggered, only the soldered mouth can tell. Try, can you stir the awful rivet? Try, can you lift the hasps of steel? Stroke the cold forehead, hot so often, lift if you care the listless hair. Handle the adamantine fingers, never a thimble more shall wear.
As the doe flies on the chamber window, brave shines the sun through the freckled pane. Fearless the cobweb swings from the ceiling, indolent housewife in Daisy's lane. Fearless the cobweb swings from the ceiling, indolent housewife in Daisy's lane. As the dove flies on the chamber window, brave shines the sun through the freckled pane. Fearless the cobweb swings from the ceiling, indolent housewife in Daisy's lane. Fearless the cobweb swings from the ceiling, indolent housewife in Daisy's lane.
Seminary-educated, privileged girls were not exempted from the back-breaking labor of the household until the arrival of the Irish servants.
My mother, my sister, Lavinia, and I are expected to work side by side with the hired help. My father insists on it, thinks it's character forming. It was downstairs in the kitchen among the servants that I learned to be a baker. My father wouldn't touch bakery bread. He would come down to the kitchen, look in the oven, and say, "I don't see any bread in there, Emily. Get cracking and baking. I'll be back."
Little bread, a crust, a crumb, a little trust, a demi-john. Then keep the soul alive, not portly mind, but breathing warm, conscious as old Napoleon. The night before the crown, a modest lot, a fame petite, a brief campaign of sting and sweet. Is plenty, is enough. A sailor's business is the shore. A soldier's balls who asketh more. Must seek the neighboring life, must seek the neighboring life, must seek the neighboring life, must seek the neighboring life.
Poor Lavinia and I had plenty of hard domestic toil that kept us away from embroidery and other genteel needlework. My letter writing took a lot of time, especially to my sister-in-law, Susan. So did my poetry.
Above stairs, she guarded her privacy, perhaps more from the zeal which drove her letter writing and her need for time alone. Aside from her poems, her letters reveal much about her need for human connection. She had that in the kitchen.
It was Clorinda Boltwood gave me the confidence to go work at Emily's house. Clorinda said,
Margaret is as kind as a sister could be to me.
Was she really talking about an Irish maid as a sister?
yes, she really was talking about me.
I started to get over my bad opinion of the Irish. If Margaret was good enough for the Boltwoods, she might just be good enough for us, the uppity Dickinsons. Margaret brought new energy, and I said to Lavinia, we're lucky to get her. Maggie is wild and mighty, good and noisy, the north wind of the family.
Class distinction between an Irish maid and her upper-class mistress diminished over time. A bidding war had ensued between the Boltwoods and the Dickinsons for Margaret's services.
When I was working for the Boltwoods, my mother and father died in Ireland, and I was heartbroken. Then poor Tom, my brother-in-law, he lost an arm in an accident, and he almost died too.
A one-armed, illiterate Irish manservant and his wife Mary were shaky hires. Margaret was the attractive employee in the family. Her worth demonstrated in her stellar performance in the employment of the Boltwoods. Maggie often said, well, she was so industrious, that she didn't have enough work to do.
As I've said many times, there is one great trouble that I have. Not half enough work, that I must play with the cats.
It was exactly the initiation and preparation Margaret needed coming to Emily's straight-laced household. The Dickinsons were more solid as employers, but Margaret loved the Boltwoods.
I'd love to stay here with Clorinda, but they move a lot, and more children are coming, and they travel too much. I am torn about leaving Clorinda in the lurch, and the children.
But she was lucky. She had Kelly Square and could go home from here every night to her own kin. Sure, she was only a stone's throw from the homestead.
Maybe I'd be better off if I was further away. I'd get called back for every little fiddle, faddle, and sniffle. Like I'm a nursemaid. Then I'd have to run back over to the homestead.
The war of the Boltwoods and the Dickinsons for Margaret's services was fraught and fought over time.
I wanted Margaret, even though she was a mere or native Irish woman, uneducated. But she was smart and a whirlwind of energy. Besides, she liked my poems. She came from the land of the bard. I don't let too many people see them. I hide a lot of them in her trunk. I told her to burn them if I died unexpectedly. I told her I would haunt her if she didn't burn them.
Haunt me it is. That's pretty harsh. Sure ain't I terrified of ghosts.
Only if you don't burn my poems like you promised. Why, you'd know me, wouldn't you, if I was a ghost? Don't you believe in the banshee? Wouldn't I be giving you a good warning?
Now don't you be dying unexpectedly. What'll your father do for bread? Now that trunk sailed over the Atlantic with me. It has many a whale of a tale to tell.
Both sides had their attractions. Emily's side won, and her hatred of the Irish was behind her.
I had no time to hate. I had no time to hate because the grave would hinder me. And life was not so ample. I could finish enmity. Nor had I time to love, but since some industry must be, the little toil of love, I thought, be large enough for me. I had no time to hate because the grave would hinder me. And life was not so ample I could finish enmity. Nor had I time to love, but since some industry must be, the little toil of love I thought be large enough, I thought be large enough for me. I thought be large enough for me.
The Dickinsons are a theatrical tribe of well-hewn characters. There are twists and turns of wills and war, of love and drama, tragedy, life and death.
There's a lot of gossip and scandal in the neighborhood now. My brother Austin, his wife Susan, and a three-way love affair with Mabel Loomis Todd.
Emily doesn't know what to make of it. And poor Lavinia, long-suffering, she's expected to swill out the commodes. That's my job, I tell her, now that Austin is off to Harvard learning the law.
Our father believes that housework is good for us. Character forming, he keeps telling us, and keeps our moody hormones in check.
That's a terror, Miss Emily. Himself it is that's pretty moody. Didn't he have something to do with that new slavery law?
He did. The Fugitive Slave Act of 1850? Sadly, yes, he's an anti-abolitionist. I used to be one myself.
So he doesn't just hate the Irish. Too bad he thinks it's okay to go after and capture freed slaves.
He's a Calvinist. He hates everyone. We all hated the Irish before you came, Maggie.
Our story puts them all on the sidelines. Hardly a mention of Emily's obsession with her sister-in-law, Susan. Her passionate letters to her, perhaps more than just another outlet for her letter writing and poetic genius.
I know there's talk about Susan and me.
But you don't care, do you?
You are so right, Maggie. I don't give a fig what's being said about me. I just love her as a friend.
That's not what I hear.
To tell you the truth, I do care about all that talk about Susan and me. It hurts.
Is that why you don't go out much anymore? Just stay locked in your room writing to her?
Maybe. I don't want to mix with gossips and scandal mongers. I get a lot more pleasure from writing to Susan than gallivanting around town. Besides, I don't have time for holding grudges.
I'm not some dithering Egypt peasant that would take any job. I wanted a household where I was challenged. They were examining me, but what they didn't know, I was examining them. They were surprised I thought so well of myself. I was going to go gold prospecting with me 2 brothers to California, but Mary and Tom are here in Amherst, and the Boltwoods were very good to me. They're them that treats their maids badly. Didn't herself know all about the poor Irish Bridgets. She wrote one of her 1,800 poems about us.
The spider as an artist has never been employed, though his surpassing merit is freely certified by every broom and bridges throughout a Christian land. Neglected son of genius, I take thee by the hand. The spider as an artist has never been employed by his surpassing merit, is freely certified by every broom and bridge throughout a Christian land, neglected son of genius, I take thee by the hand, I take thee by the hand, I take thee by the hand.
In some houses, we're no better than a going after a spider. So, but I hear tell of maids from Ireland. They don't even have their own name. They're all called Bridget.
Maggie, you're not one of them, thank the Lord, and St. Patrick. But you have to admit it's a rather nice name. You could do worse than be called Bridget. I've always loved cobwebs. Don't you think they are works of art?
No, sorry, I don't. I'm always chasing after them with me broom like an Irish Bridget. That's what it means, you know. It's not complimentary. The Irish Bridgets have to do all the washing, throttle and kill the chickens, pull the feathers and the guts, then stuff them with a plucked squirrel.
That's disgusting. We didn't ask you to do that, did we, Maggie?
I can count the number of chickens I plucked on me one hand.
She knows how valuable she is. You get off lightly because you're good at other things.
Like hiding your poems.
You do get away from some of the heavy lifting. You'll always be Maggie to us. Some of the Bridgets don't know their place or are impertinent, drink too much, and stay out all night.
Ooh, I could do with a bit of that. Drinking, carousing, and staying out all night. This house is as dry as a dusty desert in equatorial Africa.
I know, compared to you, Maggie, we're as dull as the ditch water. Let's escape to the kitchen and do some baking. You can drink some of the cooking sherry or the rum.
No, not now. That's for the cake. Why don't you bring me one of your nice poems and then we'll bake? I have to do the washing now.
Good and noisy, the north wind of the family. But sweets without a salt would at last cloy.
You're not so bad yourself. You know, I wasn't sure when I came in March of 1869 that you'd like me too much. I can be a bit of a handful.
I wasn't too sure you'd like me either. I know you were crazy about Clorinda, and they say I'm a bit odd.
Oh, I like y'all, but I have a lot of songs of loss and longing in my heart. For my own people, far across the sea.
I have my own loss and longing in my heart, and my own people are right under my nose in the same roof.
As I wrote to me mother in Callusty, I am a stranger here, as if I came to work yesterday.
I am a stranger in my own land, my own town, my own home.
Ah, go on out of it. Aren't you Amherst royalty?
I don't want to be royalty. I just want to be left alone. I'm lucky you're not one of those drunken Irish Bridgets. I can talk to you.
I'm lucky too. Let's go down to the kitchen and bake. That's where I get the most chat out of you. Would you like to try me Irish plum pudding?
Plum pudding, what's that?
Well, it's almost the same recipe as your black cake. Now, I don't want to oversell it, but it's much better than your black cake, in my humble Irish opinion.
There's nothing humble about you. Even your opinions have a certain humble authority, so don't be priding yourself on your humility.
Oh, come on, Miss Emily, give it a try. Steamed through the night, it's really moist with all that whiskey and rum.
Nothing's better than my black cake. And don't I have the prizes to show for it?
I know you do, but it's prizes for your poems you should be looking for.
I'm not putting them in any competitions, that's for sure. They're not cakes.
So they're just for yourself, then?
Not quite. I sew them up in little booklets and give them away as presents. I put some in my letters, and then the rest into your trunk. Now don't forget what you promised when I die.
Yeah, you really are an odd one. You've got hundreds of them, and why don't you want to see them printed in the newspapers?
I prefer to just give them to friends and also concentrate on my baking.
Well, then why don't you try me Irish plum pudding? In Ireland, somebody won a prize for it.
Too much trouble. Don't you have to stay up all night, topping up the water? I have poems to write at night, Margaret.
That's not so hard, Miss Emily. I can do that. The steam is the key to its success.
You only have to put the black cake in the cake tins in the oven and cook it. I know what I'm doing with the black cake. I'm going to go for the black cake I know over a plum pudding I don't know. I have posterity on my mind today.
Oh! I thought you said you didn't want to be famous. Wait till you see what posterity will do for you. Right, so you're the boss.
In name only, you're the bossy one. Aren't you always telling me what to do?
It's only for your own good.
If it's got the same ingredients, isn't it going to taste the same? I'll grease the cake tins and get the oven ready.
All right, I'll mix the ingredients and measure them all. Just don't disappear. I want you to keep talking to me. I miss you when you go upstairs. Silence is all we dread. Silence there's ransom in our voice. Silence is all we dread. Silence is all we dread. Silence, but silence is infinity. Himself have not a face. citron, and angelica, a dozen eggs, 3 pounds of butter. Grease the pan and mix the batter.
Raisins, cherries, and sultanas, whiskey, citron, and angelica, a dozen eggs, 3 pounds of butter. Grease the pan and mix the batter.
Make it slow, it's not a race. This cake is made to last for years, for celebrations and for tears.
Flour, nutmeg, clove, and mace. Take it slow, it's not a race. This cake is made to last for years, for celebrations and for tears.
Don't forget the dark molasses. That's a cake that none surpasses.
Pour on the whiskey, rum, and gin. The black cake will be sure to win.
Don't forget the dark molasses. That's a cake that none surpasses. Pour on the whiskey, rum, and gin. The black cake will be sure to win. Flour, nutmeg, clove, and mace. Take it slow, it's not a race. This cake is made to last for years, for celebrations and for tears. Don't forget the dark molasses. That's a cake that none surpasses. Pour on the whiskey, rum, and gin. The black cake will be sure to win. A dress of pure and simple lawn, her good born, her good born.
She will not see me put upon with too much toil and trouble.
Miss Emily, please take a break. You're supposed to write and cakes to bake. store the gift her poems are. Her Gunnabon, the pure and simple dress, the cloak that hides her pain and keeps her white and pure and plain.
It's an expensive calico, not lawn. The white dress, the Gunnabon.
The white dress, the Gunnabon.
Gurama Agatha Cara. Gurama Agatha Cara.
Thank you, Margaret dear. Servant, soul, and savior, without you might be lost, lost and forgotten.
The poems of Emily, the poems of Emily on Philip. The poems of Emily on Philip. The poems of Emily on Philip.
Tis little I could care for pearls. Who owns the ample sea? Or brooches when the emperor with rubies pelteth me?
Or gold who and the prince of mines, or diamonds, when have I a diadem to fit adorn continual upon me?
The brain is wider than the sky. We'll put them side by side. The one the other will contain, with ease and you beside. With ease and you beside. The brain is deeper than the sea, for all them blue to blue. The one the other will absorb as sponges buckets do. The brain is just the weight of thought, for half them pound for pound, and they will differ if they do a syllable from sound.
Emily continued her prodigious output of poetry writing. She was particularly prolific during the Civil War.
The years passed. Maggie provided more and more companionship and solace to an increasingly reclusive and ailing Emily, who wore only white until her death.
Maggie, you know I haven't been feeling so well recently. And I'm wondering how much time I really have left.
You're far too morbid, if you don't mind me saying so. Perhaps you're not the picture of health today, but I think it's just another cold and you're going to be fine. I'll fix you one of me rescue remedies and you'll soon be back to yourself.
I don't know what self you're talking about. Haven't you noticed I'm slowing down? I thought you Irish were in love with death. All that keening and lamenting and kicking up your heels at wakes. Will you help me to plan my funeral?
Now that's a tall order, helping the great Miss Emily Dickinson plan her own funeral.
I don't mind facing it. I've been thinking about it for years.
Now, you're far too young to be always thinking about your funeral and death. Are you serious about me planning it with you? What do you have in mind?
I am. You're good at everything. And you've been so kind to me since I haven't been feeling well. I have ideas already.
Well, don't be always writing about it and thinking about it. You'll be bringing it on yourself. Now, you're not that sick.
I'm sick enough.
No, you're not nearly sick to be dying. I'll know in yarn. We'll talk about it then. Now, didn't you just say the Irish are great at it? All that buckle-upping and wailing around the coffin.
No, not quite that. I would like those strong Irish lads to carry me out the door and over to my final resting place.
Well, you've come a long, long way since I've arrived. Irish fellas carrying your coffin. Wouldn't you prefer your brother Austin and Thomas Wentworth Higginson? Or maybe some of Amherst's big, finest gentlemen? Now, I know you don't care what people think, but Irish laborers? Carrying the great Miss Emily Dickinson's coffin.
Yes, that's what I would actually like. Do we have to talk about this now? Instead, let's talk about summer, July, good weather, the seasons, the birds and bees, the flowers, fall, even winter. When nothing really dies, just a period of dormancy. That's what I hope for when I die.
There you go with the dying business again. Why don't you go into your garden and check out the conservatory? You've got lots of seedlings that need watered, new life sprouting. It'll take your mind off meeting your maker.
I'm not really looking forward to meeting him or her, if indeed there is such a person. A coffin is a small domain, yet able to contain a citizen of paradise in it. Diminished plain.
Stop talking about coffins. Think flowers, birds, bees, love, life, cake.
Where is the hay? Ah, said July, where is the seed? Where is the bud? Where is the May? Show me the snow, show me the bells, show me the jay. Quibble the jay, where be the maize, where be the haze? Where be the bird? Here said the year. I can't seem to help it, thinking about it. Now I'm even thinking a pesky fly won't let me enjoy my own death, and it will be ruined.
Now that sounds very Irish to me. A fly won't let you enjoy your own death. What kind of hopeless case are you?
I heard a fly buzz when I died. The stillness in the room was like the stillness in the air between the heaves of storm. The eyes around had wrung them dry, and breaths were gathering firm for that last onset, when the king be witnessed in the room. And Wilde, my keepsakes, signed away what portion of me be assignable. And then there interposed a fly with blue, uncertain, stumbling buzz between the light and me. And then the windows failed. And then I could not see to see. How happy is the little stone that rambles in the road alone and doesn't care about careers and exigencies, never fears whose cause